You're on the party line with Sarah and Christy. This is I'm on the Phone podcast, where we're healing out loud, sharing culty stories, and laughing at the mess along the way. So grab a coffee, a bestie, settle in, and let's talk.
Anyways, but it's been an interesting couple of weeks.
Yes, it has.
Oh my goodness. But like for today, we changed, I'm gonna sound like I'm pulling this preacher. We changed plans at the last minute, but it was not the Holy Spirit, it was my therapist.
Oh my god.
And pardon my half smoker voice. Like, I feel like
Promise we haven't taken up smoking yet.
No. But I feel like I could easily be sitting somewhere with like one of those fancy Cruella de Vil cigarettes and a glass of wine at some like
And it would totally
bar
fit.
down in some basement, somewhere.
Oh,
That's
good.
what I feel like I sound like at the moment from inside my head.
Yeah.
I
No,
have no
I
idea
get
what
it.
it sounds like out there.
I don't think you sound that bad.
Well, that's good. But I definitely hit much lower notes than normal.
Yeah,
Sometimes I take advantage of that.
sure.
But yeah, anyway,
Mhm.
I had a therapy session yesterday, and she had asked some really great questions. And as I was on the way home, I was just thinking about my session, as I do, and I asked myself a question. Well, first because it was framed one way, and then I kind of flipped it, and then I was like, wait a second. And the question was, how do I love?
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, how do I love? Whatever. And then all of a sudden it just like hit me that my entire experience, like life, I have spent in what's called fawn mode. So we know that like everyone is mostly familiar with like fight, flight, freeze, but the fourth one is fawn, and it's super common. A lot of people would be more familiar labeling it as people pleasing.
Mhm.
The cat being really loud. I think she has like the kitty cat zoomies. Anyways, squirrel. Oh, here she is. But anyways, it just all of a sudden just hit me that I can't. Now there's portions of relationships where I think I wasn't fawning. But then as like time has gone on, like that's my automatic default. No, like regardless of what the other person actually thinks.
Yeah.
So I just kept thinking about it, and it kept like going deeper and deeper, and I'm just like, whoa. So then I started talking to you about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people are familiar with what fawning is. Like I said, basically it's people pleasing. But a more specific way of explaining it, and I've heard this talked about many, many times elsewhere, but if you are constantly looking out for and listening and being like hyper vigilant around other people's tone when they're talking, so that you can kind of be ready for them to, start being judgmental, or even like pop off, like be angry and yell at you or whatever. Or if you're constantly, and a lot of times you're looking for all these things, you're just constantly checking your environment, checking, especially like on these people, clocking like how they're walking across like through the house or wherever, because it changes. Like if they're angry, and if you hear that slight shift in tone, you know that they're angry, but they may not be saying it. It's all these just like, I mean, they're minuscule, and if you're not used to listening for that, you probably won't notice. But if you grew up in that kind of an atmosphere where you had to be hypervigilant just to stay somewhat emotionally safe or even physically safe, or probably even a combination,
Yeah.
then most likely you probably live in like a fawn type mode. I know some people who actually gravitate towards the fight side of that, and they're the
Yeah.
people I always wanted to be like. To be honest, I like, because
Yeah.
they would just be like, like, I don't
Yeah.
care like what you think or how you feel. This is what I think and how I feel, and
Yeah.
like, screw you, like, you're wrong. And the people were wrong, but like, it didn't bother them, or at least, actually, it did bother them, because like, even fight is still a nervous system response to danger.
Right. Yeah.
So, but there's, like, I found theirs to be more attractive because like, it looked like they were standing up for themselves, and they were. And it seems like also those people who had the more, that tended towards fight, got out a lot sooner.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, just so we know what we're talking about when we're talking about fawning and people pleasing, but just understanding it's a response to danger in our nervous system.
I'm trying to. I don't know that I did a lot of fawning.
See, I would put you more on the fight side.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm trying to remember when I realized that I was more. I know I did some, but I got to that fight side quicker than probably you did.
Yeah.
For sure. I got tired a lot quicker of constantly feeling like I had to. And like I said, I know I did it some, but
everyone does it at some point if you're in those types of environments and relationships.
But it's like I would finally rise up eventually after I had been pushed a little bit too far and fight, for sure.
Part of it, I think, is that it depends on the abuser. Some are more overt and some are covert. If they're covert, you're more likely to be in a fawn mode, because the attacks aren't always like super, super aggressive. They're much more passive aggressive.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I feel like those types of abusers are worse.
Sometimes worse, in my opinion. Because I've had both.
Yeah. I mean, the passive or the covert abusers are so much harder to spot.
They are.
And people don't believe you.
No.
When you try to explain it. And it's like, unless you've experienced, you almost, there's a lot of people who just won't believe you.
But Sarah, it's not even other people. At least, like, for me, it was myself. Like, I kept telling myself, there's no way that they're abusing anything, because they are this. And, like, they didn't look like your typical abuser.
Yeah.
They denied that they did any kind of abuse. They were, they were so straight-laced in so many other areas that it just didn't, like realizing it yourself, it was like for me, it was like a daily reminder.
Yeah. It's also one of those things, like, when the wool comes off, you can't unsee it, because all the behaviors make so much sense. But again, like, it's almost like, unless you've experienced it, the people who haven't experienced just don't really get it so much, because they're always wanting to, like, they only see the good. I mean, it's a facade.
Yeah.
And a really good one. I mean, you want to talk about wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right.
I mean, that's literally what it is.
Right. Well, and the good qualities in their mind, the people who don't really know what you've been dealing with, like, who want to pass judgment or who want to believe that they know because you've confided in them a little bit in the past. So the people who, the people who want to pass judgment on it, they look at it and think, well, you've got, even if they are doing da 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 in this relationship with
you should be thankful they're doing
you should
this,
be thankful. Yeah, you should be thankful doing all of this other stuff right.
But all of those things are that's the payoff for putting up with their manipulation and abuse.
Well, exactly. It's like one thing that is
genuine.
Abusive cancels out all the good, whether you want to believe it or not. If you are in a relationship where there is not dual respect, I'm not talking about a romantic relationship even, just that. I'm talking about any relationship where there is not dual respect from one human to the next, then that's a toxic relationship, and there is abuse present. And abuse always, in my opinion, will cancel out any good if they're being abusive and they're not going to change.
Well, okay. I've heard this somewhere, I can't remember, I've seen it in different places, but essentially, all that good stuff is the manipulation.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. So it's not even really good.
It's not good. I mean, it's just another way to manipulate you into staying in whatever capacity you're in that relationship. Like, I mean, I even think about like the church, that like at least one of the churches, the church. We'll just leave it at that. But like on a broader scale, like, okay, for instance, 1 year for VBS, my friend and I spent, I don't know how many hours creating like full, like large, like wooden animals and creatures, like, and drew on them and painted them, and like it was a pretty insane amount of work, right?
Yeah.
So like, were we compensated? No. But we got appreciated from the pulpit.
Sorry. Yes, because that's the same as being compensated for your time and your
effort and energy that you don't have.
Well, and did you have to buy the materials?
Probably not. I don't think we had to buy the materials. Okay. I think they did pay for that.
But that's a lot of work.
If they would have paid for an artist to do what we did, and like there was two of us, and it took us, I don't know how many days we spent, and like staying up super late, working on them. And of course,
well, and Sarah, and that's just
they never had enough money for anything.
Right, but that's just kind of common courtesy for your time. But also, did they even was there communication? Like, did they even pull you in and say, no, ladies, we can't pay you. So we appreciate this is strictly volunteer basis. Did they even do that? Did they even clarify that if you did this?
Here's the thing, because you're in a system where offering yourself up sacrificially is viewed as holy and good, and like that's what you do.
And you shouldn't expect anything else.
Right. You shouldn't
from them
to be compensated for any labor that you offer.
Because that borderline sin. Right? I mean, at least that's the way.
And like I said, they never have enough money. They're always asking for money, and so, but you want to have a good experience, like for the VBS, like we wanted it to look good and not stupid.
Yeah.
And like my friend and I are artists, and like that was something that we enjoyed doing, so we would volunteer ourselves. I think I said before on here sometime, but like we learned how to face paint together and would spend hours. Like I would come home and my back would just be on fire for like days because of sitting specifically to work on these little faces, which I loved to do. Like it was fun, but like
Right.
I'm in like significant pain.
Oh yeah,
doing
sure.
all this.
Yeah.
And like, so one place did pay for the supplies, which were very minimal. We're talking like probably in the $20 to $30 range.
That didn't pay for much.
Well, no, but like it got the job done, you know?
Right.
And so like at that particular event, that church was it had more traction in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that particular event, I think I sat there for probably 4 or 5 hours straight. And again, like I volunteered myself because I wasn't about to speak up for what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and even taking a break because I kept just seeing how long the line was, and I'm like, I can't stop. And of course, I know someone did ask me, do you need a break? And I'm like, no. Like, because like you can't speak up for yourself either. No. And that's the other part of just like your baseline mode Fawn. Like you don't have needs.
And they say one thing and they mean another. So had you said,
I do think that person that asked me genuinely cared
about,
yeah, they did. But my automatic response is just keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know some kids that are still in this, cult and in that environment who are exactly like that. They would not speak up for their needs and for their.
Well, speaking up for your needs, like, never was an option, truly.
From childhood.
No.
Even expressing yourself in any way, shape, or form, expressing anger, expressing disappointment, expressing sadness, the only thing that is acceptable.
I could express emotion for other situations. This is what's weird. And that's where I think that subtlety lies, where, so it's like we could be observing another situation that clearly warranted big emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could be angry all we wanted for other people, but it would usually be over something pretty drastic.
Yeah.
And so we would express ourselves in that way. But if it came down to like a personal need that was usually not deemed worthy, I guess.
Yeah.
That like I couldn't be angry for myself over what they would be considered small things.
Yeah. No, to be angry for yourself is to be selfish.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if you're a child, if you're angry, you're being rebellious. Period.
Mm-hmm. Or having a bad attitude.
Yeah. Anger for yourself as a child is never allowed or okay.
The only acceptable,
especially if it was in regards to how you will be being treated by them.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it would be okay if it was someone else, because as long as whatever was happening never reflected badly on them.
Right. It always was.
The focus could never be them.
Yeah.
And so that's where that subtlety lies.
Yeah. I think the only acceptable behavior, show of emotion, that big show of emotion, would have been happiness or joy. Those in small quantities, depending on where you were. You were always in some in some ways you were shushed or told to calm down if you were overly excited. And so it was like trying to, you just never knew what was going to be acceptable.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
It's crazy. And that's where it gets down to like, it's still hard to put into words because it's so subtle, but also like that's where my nervous system lives.
Yeah.
Like it's still there, constantly clocking everything in my environment. Every person in my vicinity I am listening to. Not necessarily listening to what they're saying, but I'm listening to their tone. I'm listening to how they're walking through the room, like even like at like say a restaurant. I'm just always hyper aware of what is happening around me.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's great. You know, it does keep you safe.
Yeah. Right.
But it's also not something that is healthy to be that way constantly because it's your nervous system isn't meant to operate as if a bear is fucking chasing you the whole time.
Yeah. It's like constantly holding yourself.
Thank you, Bubby. You just made me a waffle. Oh, yeah, that was my baby boy. He was much taller than me.
Oh, you're having a moment.
I'm actually so warm right now.
Oh, are you? Are you crying?
Yeah. No, I'm.
Oh, I thought you were
flushed because I'm sweating.
Oh,
but I'm like very touched.
Yeah, no kidding. I would be too. Oh my gosh.
So I might be taking some bites.
Absolutely, you go right ahead.
It's so hot. But
you
anyway,
go right ahead.
Just to keep going because we could just ruminate on this all day. Fawning and that fight mode and all that stuff is it's an adaptation for survival. It's not like a personality flaw, but kind of once you realize that that is your life and that is what you've been doing, like there's a lot of grief around that. A lot of honestly like anger for me and sadness.
Yeah.
For like I feel like my life was stolen.
Okay, say that one more time.
I feel like my life was stolen. Like I wasn't able to live fully. I was never able to just be me.
And it does make you feel like there's been so much time wasted.
Yeah, a lot of
just trying to please somebody else.
That all wasted time.
Yeah.
Now I have a song in my head. All the wasted time.
I've never heard that.
All the million hours, years. Still. Sorry, little Broadway there.
I've never heard that song.
Oh, I love that song. Actually, it's gorgeous. I have it on.
Sounds like it. I think that's probably one of the things that I've been sitting with a lot is, I'm 46 years old, and that is not old by any whatever, but I am older. I might have another 46 years in me.
We're over the hill. Over the hill.
Over the hill.
Over the hill.
Yeah. But I did hear somebody say the other day that if you're in your 40s, it is not too late. And I think that is really good to get into your head, that just because you're over 40, even if you're in your 50s, it is not too late to change that mindset, to reprogram your brain, and to not waste any more time.
I don't think it's ever too late. If you're alive and breathing and you want to start healing, do it.
Oh my goodness! If you're in your 80s,
like
reprogramming, quit pleasing other people.
If you're in your 80s and you have children, like obviously they're going to be adults, probably in their 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Dude, apologize to them. Like, that's what they need. Like, if you want to stop that cycle, like, take ownership and open that door for them, because they still have a lot of time left. Or maybe they don't. But if you don't start, it never starts.
Exactly. But also, if you're in your 80s, and I'm sure you do, if you've never addressed it, you do have things you need to apologize to your kids for. But also, don't then, like, if you're the type of person who does Fawn, don't let them set your boundaries for them, because it goes both ways. A relationship is, it goes both ways. And I am a big advocate for, if a relationship is not serving you, if a relationship is toxic, it's not serving you and it's not serving the other person. So walk away from it. And that goes for any relationship you have.
Yes.
I think that this whole idea that we just have to stick it out to the bitter end, when we're the only ones that are interested in growing and changing and being better, that is the stupidest, crappiest thing anybody could ever tell you that you have to do, is to stick a relationship out simply because of where that person falls in your family, in your friend group. You've known these people since you were 10. Who cares? You have to walk away from a relationship that is not serving you. It's just, otherwise,
these people are, generally speaking, like, determined to misunderstand you and determined to disrespect you. Do not care about you becoming a better person, nor themselves. Like, how does that help you in the long run? Like, it's only going to hold you back. It's only going to keep you from doing from finding your own purpose and from becoming, like, successful yourself. Like, they want to talk about, like, the overcomers and being more than conquerors. And I'm like, y'all are over there just beating yourself down and trying to keep everyone down with you.
Yeah.
And, like, living in abundance. And that does not necessarily mean financially, but, like, living in emotional abundance is, like, the healthiest place you can be.
Absolutely.
And to be around someone who is literal poison to that pot.
Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Why would you just knowingly stay in taking poison?
Why would you continue to do that to yourself? Now that I feel like, crossed a line with that. And, I don't know if there's a better way to say that, but now that I feel like, well, just like you said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So once I saw it, then, like, it's that conforming, when they expect you to conform to their way of thinking and to look a certain way, do a certain way, say a certain thing, just when you're around them, and it completely goes against your identity, or it goes against who you really are, and you're doing it just to be in front of them. That is not a healthy relationship.
No.
That is not respect for the person. And that's what we're told. You do this out of respect for this person. That's not respect if you're pretending to be somebody you're not. That was probably one of the biggest realizations to me, is that I am not respecting anybody by being somebody totally different when I'm around this person.
Okay. This brings up something that has bothered me for years, even when I was in it. Okay. That whole thing where they're like, when okay, so I lived on a campus for a full 7 years, right? And then just being in and around. So even all the way back to when I was in college, I was on another campus of the same variety.
Yeah.
And we would have special events, right? And people would come, hundreds of people would come.
Mhm.
And the number of times over the decades, I would hear that phrase that people would dress a certain way out of respect for their beliefs. And it always bothered me because I'm like, why is it always that it's out of respect for this institution, and the people that run the institution? It wasn't respect. It was control.
Mhm. That's exactly
It
what it
was
was.
like the absolute effect of a narcissistic abuser. You do it not out of respect, but out of fear and for safety.
Yep.
And that, like, it always boiled my blood because I'm like, that
Yeah.
is not respect. That is them still having a hold on you. That is them still manipulating you
Yeah.
into conformity.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, they had it was a handbook rule. Just they had it in the handbook on all of these Christian college campuses that you had to, yeah, you had to, um,
It was all about image control because even over the summer, they required you to represent them by
yes,
keeping the rules.
but even people who didn't go to the college, if you visited the college, if you were a woman, you had to wear a skirt. And they had these rules. You couldn't wear tank tops and shorts on campus. And I mean, these were not just for, I mean,
How did they enforce that?
I don't know, Sarah. I never saw them
Did they
have
just walk up
to.
to strangers and be like, "You need to go change if you're going to be here"?
I never saw them have to.
Okay.
But I remember reading that when I worked in the business office. I remember reading that in the handbook that it didn't matter if you were going to that college or not, if you were a parent of a kid, if you were a friend of a kid, if you were whatever. It was a private college, so they had every right to. And I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say the ACE curriculum, like that whole thing. They have a dress code.
Mm-hmm.
If you are on the floor, and it has a lot to do with, I mean, the guys have to wear suit pants and a tie, but it has a lot to do with women. A lot of those rules are women. Mm-hmm.
I hated my uniform.
Oh,
I hated my uniforms.
I can't stand.
My mom made my uniforms, so her like she actually did a good job at it. She was a good teacher.
Yeah.
But because you can't just go out and buy those kind of clothes, a lot of times they would be handmade.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I got lucky in that department because mine comparatively were cute and looked nice, but I still hated it so much because I think did we have to wear a turtleneck? I remember wearing turtlenecks.
Probably. I know my sisters were the only ones that went to a school with uniform.
Obviously,
they had to wear
sleeves.
They had to wear like a tie.
I'd have a collar.
Collar with a little tie and a vest and a skirt. That was my sister's.
Because I remember I had one jumper that we wore jumpers. And
yeah, maybe it was a jumper. Maybe it was a jumper.
Because I was in a pretty low grade. I went there through third grade. And I remember I had a jumper with like big ruffles on the side.
Oh, that's cute.
So like that was probably my prettiest one.
Yeah.
And, it was like the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very on par.
So, I mean, honestly, for a school who's got such strict rules like that, uniforms were ideal. So you didn't have to worry about.
Well, here's where the uniform tricks the public. they don't see what the uniform is hiding. Like, they don't understand the mindsets behind it. It's like, it's the same as like the Catholic kids having uniforms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, there's so much misogyny on both parts, but Catholic and Protestant. But anyways,
It's crazy.
moving along. So when did you realize that you were in Fawn?
Well, now that I've been thinking about it,
Sometimes it's a gradual thing, but was there ever a moment of like, aha, like it all came together?
I think what's so crazy is that you can realize that you're in fawn mode and not about it. Like, I think that a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like I knew that I was severely people pleasing. I never thought that I was that type of person,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew I was people pleasing. I just didn't have a clue how to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there would be no support for it if I tried, but it was every authority figure in my life that I did that to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And where does that begin? You know, I mean, that begins as a small child.
Very, very young.
And yeah, you do it as a protection for yourself.
Well,
So,
even if like you realize it, depending on your situation, as to whether or not you can do anything about it.
yeah.
I mean, it's not just a cut and dry. Oh, I'm fawning. Let's stop.
No, not any. And honestly,
not like
I
that at
don't
all.
think that I probably didn't realize it to the point where I actually thought anything about it. Probably when I realized I was fawning, it was after I had my kids. When I realized it to the point where I could actually think about it and think, I am. And that's when it really started. I'm sure it affected me greatly before, but that's when it really started affecting me to the point where I felt like it was affecting my health, my mental health.
Oh, yeah. It's
and my physical. Yeah, yeah. Because not only then was I trying to please them through just my actions and my decisions and all that, but I was also trying to please them through every one of my kids, their upbringing, their training, and that's like, you're there's absolutely no way, there's absolutely no way that you can train your kids for the satisfaction of another person. There's no way. It's impossible. It's an impossible goal. And so, I wasn't aware enough back then to really say this is an impossibility. I just kept on trying. And no matter what I did or what I said, in the privacy of like just trying to think, okay, I'm not going to do this when I go. I'm not going to try to make it look like they're better in any way. I would still do it. I would still go back to, what felt safe.
Yeah.
What in that moment with that person.
Yeah, that is a big one when you have kids. Like that hits really hard actually for me.
Yeah.
It's like for me, like when I realized it wasn't like terribly long ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think much later than you. And it wasn't that I didn't like I knew, so as far as kids go, I knew that I had a lot of fear around their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was comfortable with just us, like at home.
Yeah.
I knew other people would be less accepting.
Yeah.
And so when we were in public or like visiting people, oh my gosh, like I didn't put up with anything.
Yeah.
Like anything that would reflect badly on me, because that's how it was always framed. It's like, if they're behaving a certain way, that means I am bad.
Yeah. It reflects on, yeah.
And there's always like the people that go through like, well, my kid will never do that, blah, 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 blah. And like, even like from my own family, like what was acceptable and what wasn't, was made very plain. Even just in the observation of other children. Like all the comments about other children or other people, like, and that's the thing. We know what everybody thinks when you're hyper judgmental.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we know what you think about, if I were to do that, then obviously that's what you're going to think about me. Like it's 2 and 2, makes 4.
Right.
And if you're saying that about other children, and I also know how I was raised, like what was okay and what wasn't. And,
right.
In that environment, like in that cultish, evangelical, fundamentalist environment, not cultish, cult, the parenting is authoritarian. And again, it varies from place to place how authoritarian, I guess. But it was all based out of fear.
Right.
All of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I actually realized it, because I remember one day I was talking to my husband and explaining how when I would be in conversation like with my mom, actually, how I was always trying to think 10 steps ahead. And like I knew what kind of stories she enjoyed, like about the kids.
Yeah.
I understood her humor. Because I mean, part of it we share. Like, it's not that it's bad humor, but it was very specific.
Right.
Like I knew that she would think that's funny, and I knew what topics would set her off, and I knew what topics were safe. Yeah. And so, like, I felt like I constantly was trying to direct that in a way, or at least steer it in a way that kept me safe. And this is actually, it kind of touches on something that we mentioned, like our last episode maybe. But like that actually is a form of manipulation. But it's out of an intention to be safe. Yeah. Not an intention to control. Yeah. So
that's big difference.
And that is the difference. Like, but it teaches you how to manipulate by default.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when these parents, and my kids have been accused of being manipulative by one person, my mother, actually. Once again, if you haven't noticed, this is part of the reason why we don't talk. But my kids were accused of being manipulative, and she's accused many children of being manipulative. But not understanding that, again, when children are manipulative, and that's in complete air quotes, it's not true manipulation from a child, because a child literally does not have the development neurologically and psychologically to do that. It is from the intent of safety, not like malice,
right?
Not control,
right?
It is literally just to stay safe, and like that's a big reason why children lie.
Exactly,
because they know if they. I mean, it is very simple. I mean, it's self-preservation.
Absolutely.
But if they know that if they mess up, that they are going, if violence it will incur violence.
And that's the thing is
person doesn't try to avoid violence against
absolutely. Like if you've got a kid that's lying to you, you need to figure out why they're lying instead of punishing them for lying. find out what's behind
there's something
the reason
there.
they're lying. There's something there. And if they're scared, that's valid. They're scared of you, and you need to change. If they are, but never is it just because they want to lie. You know, I mean, just because they desire to do that. My son lied to me just recently, and I asked him if he brushed his teeth, and immediately he said yes. And so I went in there and I was brushing my teeth, and I just saw his toothbrush there, and it wasn't wet. It had not been used. So I realized he hadn't brushed his teeth. So I called him in there and I said, "You didn't brush your teeth?" And he just said, "No." And he said, "I was afraid he'd be mad at me." That's valid. Like, why would I punish him for that? I mean, so what I said was, "I'm sorry that you felt like I would be upset, but no, I just wanted to know if you had brushed them. I was going to help you come in here and brush them. But I didn't say you shouldn't have lied, you know, like really get after him." I mean, when you get over your taking, people they take it personally.
Yeah.
When a kid lies to them, and they're just like, this person did, you know, they treat it like it's a 35-year-old lied to them instead of a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old.
I mean, they're very threatened
it is
by
just
children.
Like, they are. And everything that is wrong, like, in my opinion, a mother or a parent who is talking to another parent about their child. Okay, I've just lost my train of thought, so we can go somewhere else. Sorry. Anyway, my phone just said that it was almost dead. So,
oh, well, I just hit the 20%.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
We can start wrapping it up because we're at 52, so we're good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like a lot of this comes from a deep place of insecurity on the part of like the caregiver or the parent, which if you know, knowing what you believe, of course you're insecure. You're insecure in every possible way because you're literally being asked to do the impossible.
Yeah.
And say that it's not.
Yeah.
And live this, I don't know, like some sort of Instagram, Pinterest life of perfection while ignoring the reality of being human.
Absolutely.
And not even learning about the reality of being human.
Right. Yeah.
And then being so dogmatic in your belief system that you can't even self-reflect or take any sort of accountability. Because if you were to take accountability, it kind of implodes your belief system, like the foundations of who you are.
Yeah.
Like religiously, like emotionally yourself.
Yeah.
Like you have to start acknowledging that what you're being told is this way to heaven. That's some sort of guarantee, but not a guarantee because it's so funny because they all live in this dichotomy and cognitive dissonance of like, we know, we can know that we're going to heaven, but being also so afraid that if they even have the wrong tone or attitude at some point by accident, that they will go to an eternal damnation in hell.
Ludicrous. It's like completely ludicrous.
There's no solid ground to stand on, and they're saying one thing, but their body and their mind know this is not okay. It's not true. It's not possible to live this way.
Yeah. And their foundation is found in so many,
so toxically.
Yeah. Their foundation is found in so many different ways that no wonder they're unsteady. Like, no wonder they're insecure. Their foundation is on the KJV. Their foundation is on the way people look, the way they dress. You know, if they wear hose or if they don't wear hose or if they wear short sleeves. You know,
if you can be threatened by a person being on your campus looking different than you, that says a lot about who you are as a person, as a group, as a school, as an organization, institution, all of it.
Yeah.
If you are so threatened by someone being different than you, in very simple ways.
Yeah. And the key word there is threatened. Like fear.
Yes.
Fear. They are fearful and afraid of things they don't understand or that are not familiar to them. They are so scared. They're scared of the world, Sarah. They're scared of anything that is not like inside their little bubble, basically. And they're the only ones that are going to heaven.
Yeah. How lucky for them, right? The Frozen Chosen.
The Frozen Chosen.
We had lots of fun names for it, didn't we?
Huh?
So we had lots of fun names for it.
Oh my goodness.
The Frozen Chosen, the Faithful Few.
The Faithful Few. I remember that one.
And sometimes it was quite literal. There'd be like 4 people at church.
Oh yeah.
I'm like for good reason. This is not a good place to be. Oh my goodness. Well, we're gonna wrap it up for this week. We actually are going to continue this conversation next week. It's going to get a lot deeper. We need more time to think about this for ourselves because this is something that we are both like currently exploring. We were going to record yesterday too, and ran into like the wackiest technical.
So frustrating. I still feel the frustration. That was so frustrating.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But yes, we will continue this conversation next week. Feel free to write in. Like, I know we have a listener who likes to like also answer her questions and send it in, and that's a really great way to process, actually. So thank you for that. If anyone else wants to do that, please feel free. We like to hear from you. Yeah, we're gonna go a little deeper on this topic, and this might be like 2 parts or more. We'll see. Yeah. But I really feel like this whole nervous system response is really core to kind of breaking free from this mindset. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for putting up with my smoker voice. my I have a cold and I'm still recovering voice. So yes, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, etc. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening on the party line to I'm on the Phone podcast with Sarah and Christy. Join us again next week for more stories about our pre, post, and mid-culty life. If this content resonated with you, hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and take half a second to share it with a friend. Thanks again for listening.